Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. This is HolyJoe Rock and Roll live and unscripted. Friday, July the 21st, 2017. Got a few major stories to cover today. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Polish situation, what's been happening in Poland the last couple of days, but also I wanted to really focus in on the week. Initially, I want to talk about what's been happening in the U.S. with President Donald J. Trump. Really, on this channel here, Biased Patriot or Based Patriot, he's been hosting most of these videos coming from whitehouse.gov. And Donald Trump has been very busy this week. Talked about the GOP healthcare bill failure. And what is really concerning, I think, for a lot of people who support Trump is that these so-called Republicans, these rhinos, Republican in name only, have been promising us a repeal and replacement of Obamacare for over 7 years now. And they have the votes, they have the potential to do it, and they're not doing it. It's really pissing us all off. So look, my understanding was that repeal should be easy. You just repeal it and you replace it with what we've discussed this already in public. Trump has discussed this in public, removing the state lines so that insurance companies in different states can compete across state lines, removing the restrictions from offering health care across state lines. That's number one. Another thing is to encourage there to be healthcare savings plans, right, where you can put money into like an IRA, but for your health care, and from that it will be tax deductible most likely, and from that you could buy your health insurance, and also whatever you don't use you can give to your children, whatever, that kind of thing, right? Just a way to save money. Or you could use the money in your healthcare savings plan to actually pay for health insurance directly, pay a doctor directly, right? Once government gets out of healthcare, the price is going to have to drop, because what's propping up these prices, and how many times have you gone to a doctor in the U.S. and the doctor doesn't even know how much something costs, or they won't tell you? By the way, chat's open. I can tell you an example. In my case, I had insurance. Well, I thought I had insurance. I went to see the doctor. He thought I had insurance at first, and he wanted to do an EKG on me, which was ridiculous because I don't need an EKG. So then he looked up my insurance first and found out that my ex-wife had canceled the program, had canceled me off of her health insurance. My ex-wife, it doesn't cost her anything extra, but being a spiteful bitch that she was, she took me off. We weren't divorced yet, right? We weren't divorced yet. I think I had just filed maybe a week earlier. I filed for divorce because she was a SOB, or actually, whatever. I had to do it, and like a week later, she took me off the healthcare plan. Okay, like I said, it was a family. When you have the family plan, it doesn't really cost anything extra whether you have a husband or a spouse and 1 kid or 5 kids. It pretty much stays the same, because the company has these these negotiation capabilities where they have thousands, if not tens of thousands of employees. So if you have 1 kid or 5 kids, it doesn't really matter, right? Anyway, so the guy says, yeah, so the doctor says, oh, your insurance has been canceled. The EKG is going to cost $695. And I was like, forget about it. I don't need it. I don't need it, man. This is, 15, 20 years ago. Not 20 years ago. I guess around 17 years ago. Right around 2000 or 2001. So whatever, 16 years ago, right? So that's... But if you come to Poland, for instance, I mean, EKG, it probably costs you 50 zlotys, right? If the equipment is there and the technician is available, maybe, saying maximum doctor visit might cost you 150 zlotys if you just come off the street. But if you have private insurance, it's all usually all inclusive, right? Maybe you're going to pay 150 or 200 zlotys for a single man, probably be about around 120 zlotys a month for private insurance, and you can see pretty much any doctor, any specialist, and you would only have to pay extra for pharmaceutical stuff, and also if you got admitted to a hospital. Anyhow, Trump's talking about this. And if we can't, I mean, repeal is easy. Just repeal the damn thing. That was number one. That was on the 18th of this week. Then on the 19th, you know what I mean? This man has been busy as all heck. President Trump has been working hard, as you can tell, to make America great again. It's not just what he's saying, it's what he's doing. He has this Make America Week. Okay, so then he had this Make America Roundtable where he brought in manufacturers from all over the country to talk about their products and really promote two things: Buy American and Hire American, right? And around the White House, they had all this samples of equipment and things that are made in America from all 50 states. And a lot of, industrial stuff, tractors, whatever, but also other things. So it's pretty cool. And of course, here's a picture, kind of small, but he tried on a Texas hat, a cowboy hat. And that was pretty cool. Made by, I think, a company out of Texas, I believe, or maybe, if not Texas, Oklahoma, one of those sort of Texas, Arkansas area places. What else? Then, also on the 19th, I guess this is on the 19th, Trump talks about the inauguration of the Voter Fraud Commission. Now, you don't have to read the whole book to know that it's good or to know that it's bad, right? You don't have to know how many millions of illegals voted in this past election to know that for sure illegals are voting. How do we know this? Because people are not required to show ID. It pissed me off when I was living in New York and I went to vote. I just pulled out my driver's license. When you walk up, basically you walked up to a table to sign in that you're voting, and I pull out my driver's license to show who I am, and they say, we don't need to see your ID. And I could be anybody. They just asked for my name, found me in the book, right? And that's just ridiculous, because that really means that anybody can vote. Now, what makes this more complicated and why this is really a truism is because of the motor voter laws. The motor voter laws said that when you got a new driver's license or when you applied for a driver's license, you could ask to be registered, right, at your new address. And when they often click the box that says register me, that you could say maybe they don't know what they're doing because they don't speak English, or you could say they know what they're doing and they're doing this intentionally. So they're illegally registering to vote, and then who knows what percentage of them are voting, but the numbers are now estimated to be over 5 million people voted illegally in this past election, this past presidential election. That's a huge number, and really, if that's true, we know that probably 99% of them voted for Hillary, and that really negates the assertion that she won the popular vote, because that's bullshit. If there's more than 2 million people who voted illegally, Trump definitely won the popular vote. So, yeah, healthcare, Make America Great Again, Made in America, the inauguration of the voter fraud stuff. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so that's somebody, CC, talking about probably Obamacare. Somebody, a direct example, I talked about my brother's experience with Obamacare in the past, but here's somebody who was forced to purchase health care for the marketplace, which means the Obamacare marketplace most likely, and he was only allowed to, hey, what's up? What's up, baby? He was only allowed to, there's only one ear, nose, ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor in all of Miami-Dade County, which probably means, CC, are you going to have to wait? You probably have to wait several weeks to see this doctor, if that's the only one that you can see. And that's what sucks about Obamacare. Not only does it cost a lot of money, but the deductibles are extremely high, which means that not only are you paying a shitload of money just to have the quote-unquote insurance, but then it doesn't actually benefit you in terms of paying for stuff until you pay off your deductible, which can be, again, several $1,000s, multiple $1,000s. So that's why Trump would always say, unless you get hit by Komatsu get hit by a tractor, it's never going to pay off for you, right? Get the government out of healthcare. Is there any government really involved in auto insurance? No. And these auto insurance companies, whether it be Geico or USAA or what's the other one? Whatever. There's so many of them. Allstate. So many competing for your policy. Competing, right? Call Geico and you can save 15% on your auto insurance, right? And then same thing with home insurance. All these same companies maybe then, oh, hey, if you put your auto and home together, we'll give you an additional discount, right? There's that competition that's definitely going to happen. Get the government out, man. Just get the government out. Yeah, CC is saying that was the marketplace's Obamacare. It's a horrible situation, man. I knew it would be a bad thing. I just knew it would be a bad thing. When it happened, I gave a thing, and Obama lied about it, man. And Trump came out there and did say, again, that Obama lied. You can keep your doctor if you like your doctor. You can keep your plan if you like your plan. These are all lies. Obama said it 28 times. And let's assume how could Obama not have known that this is the deal? Because later on he said, when we said you could keep your plan, it was true, but your plan then had to conform with the new Obamacare rules, regulations. I'm in Poland. Cyber 2306, I'm in Poland, and I'm not going back to the U.S. until Trump can make America great again. I'm doing what I can to help save Western civilization from this side of the ocean. I mean, I would love to go back, but I'm sort of reestablished here. It took about 10 years to really reestablish myself here, and I mean, there's no point in me going back. Starting over, even with a good job, but they seem to be far and few between, right? I mean, I get offers all the time. Today, somebody just said he had a position somewhere in Jacksonville, Florida, but you had to be on site, and I said, dude, I'm doing remote administration, remote configuration, remote management, remote, whatever you want to call it. I don't need to be in the U.S. to do this job. Cyber's asking me about what I think about Polish healthcare. I'll just tell you real briefly, I've mentioned this before, that because everybody basically has socialized medicine, which people who work have to pay into, and I pay into this, there is sort of this, you want to call it a safety net for everybody. Now, it does suck because depending upon where you live, depending upon the demand on services, medical services in your area, you may have to wait a long time to get service. Now, 2 examples I'll give you. One was for my son when he was little. He had like a cyst under his eye. We were concerned about it because we didn't know what it was. So we took him to, in the Krakow area, there was a public clinic. We went there, and I swear to God, there was like 100 people. Like all of them were like old people, like ready to die, all Polish people. Like your grandma, your grandpa, I hate to say this, I don't mean to be negative, but they all looked not necessarily sick, but they were just old people. And there was like 100 of them sitting around this building, inside the building. So my wife signed us in, and I heard a pop. I don't know what that was, man. Anyway, my wife signed us in, and I said to her, this is bullshit. We're going to be waiting for an hour here. But within 10 minutes, they called us, and I think maybe children have maybe a little priority, a bit of a priority. And they saw him, and basically just was like a pimple or something. They popped it, and that's it. We went home, and that was it. So that was a good experience for my little son when he was little, my son when he was little. All right. Now, another example for me, I kind of hurt my back, and now because there is this national insurance, right? Everybody pays into. That means that everybody has coverage. Everybody can see a doctor if you're working, or I guess even if you're unemployed and you sign up for the unemployment. I don't know. I never did that, so I don't know it personally. You still would have some kind of coverage, and obviously all children have coverage as well, right? Of course, your spouse will have coverage if you're working the national, I'm saying the NFZ, right? National Foundations, whatever it is. I think it's NFZ. So that's because everybody has this, and you may say it sucks because it's socialized medicine, But because everybody has this protection, sort of the safety net, it means that private insurance has to be cheap to compete with that. So in my opinion, Polish private insurance, I don't want to drop any names, but you know probably the big companies out there that are providing healthcare, not only in Poland, but a lot of them are in multiple countries in Europe. For me, it was very inexpensive, not only in Polish zloty terms, but obviously if you convert it into dollars, it was super cheap. For a silver plan, what they called a silver plan at the time, they probably changed the plan names now, but it covered myself, my wife, at the time, well, I think now 3 or 4 kids. The baby isn't on the plan yet, but it shouldn't change the numbers. And we could see any doctor and also specialist. You would have to pay, like, say, an extra 500 zlotys per if you were admitted to the hospital for whatever reason, right? So in my opinion, that's a good system. It's working. But now here's the thing. Why does it work in Poland? This is basically a homogenized people. Now they're not. Look, it's kind of bullshit to say that all Poles are the same. They're not the same, right? There's obviously a lot of mixture in terms of what is the ethnic makeup of Poles. They're all Poles because they speak Polish. They're all Christian pretty much, except for some Tatars that are, I guess, white Muslims. And they believe in a certain national identity. They're Polish, or they're Polish first. I mean, this whole white-black thing doesn't really work in Europe. If you say somebody, oh, you're white, no, I'm Polish, or I'm German, or I'm Dutch, or I'm Danish, or I'm Swedish, right? That's who you are first. White only becomes an issue when black people come into your neighborhood. Then you have white versus black, right? Or suddenly there's now white versus black. I think that concept in Europe doesn't really exist. So when I say white European Christian, that kind of doesn't make sense for a lot of people. It's just, look, you're European, or you're Polish, or you're Lithuanian, or whatever you are, and you're Christian. You happen to be white, but that's sort of, it doesn't make sense, right? It almost doesn't make sense to a certain extent. So I hurt my back. I had private insurance. Basically called up, made an appointment. I got to see a doctor the next day. It was super awesome. My father-in-law, he also hurt his back right around the same time. He's in a different city, close to Lublin. He only has the national health insurance, and he had to wait 2 weeks to see the doctor. Okay, so that sucks for him. It really sucks for him. Now, so that's a problem, right? That's a problem with socialized medicine. But probably for him, at his age, it probably would cost maybe 100, 150 zlotys per month, and he could probably get private insurance where he could also see a doctor right away. But maybe he doesn't get sick. He never gets sick. It just, we freak accident, he got hurt, or let's say whatever, he pulled a muscle, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know exactly what happened to his back, but he's fine. But he had to wait. So that's what I think about Polish medicine. I think it's good. And look, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. The same doctors in the public system, maybe a lot of them work during the day or whatever, Monday, 3 days a week in the public system, and then they work 3 days in a private system, right? I mean, the public system doesn't pay a lot. The private system pays more. You combine those two salaries together, you make a pretty decent living as a doctor. It takes a while. I mean, if you're an engineer, you definitely can make more money. I think definitely at first, right? Maybe later on, if you're a really good doctor or a surgeon or some specialist, probably will make a lot more, but whatever. The other thing in Poland is there is approximately 1 doctor for every 60 citizens in Poland, whereas in the U.S., there's 1 doctor for every 300 citizens. So there's a lot more doctors in Poland. So again, that's going to help drive the costs down. And we should make it easier. We should make it easier for, and they did. Since I went to medical school, I know that a lot of these foreign medical programs, so programs outside the U.S. residency programs basically are not taking them anymore. Or you have to score super high on the USMLE or this examination that you take after medical school to get into a residency program. If you don't score high enough, you forget about it. You're never going to get into a residency program in the U.S., so you'll never be a licensed doctor in the U.S. Certainly, you can be a doctor in another country, wherever you can get certified, but not in the U.S. So, kind of spend a lot of time on this, but that's okay. Yeah, in my opinion, look. Right now, if you wanted to time travel back to 1950s, what it was like in the 1950s, or even the 1970s, I would say. Let's say, I mean, depending upon where you lived in the U.S. Poland has that feel. I mean, Jack Posobiec was, he's kind of stole my thunder. He stole my theme. I'm always talking about how great Krakow is, how great Poland is. There's no hashtag Islam sucks balls here. So, you know, you go out into the Rynek, the main square, kids are playing, people are happy, people are just walking around doing their business, whatever it is. It's totally safe. There's no violence, there's no crime for the most part, right? It's a beautiful situation. And it's not about white, black. It's about just people are here, they want to be here. They're invested in the culture, they're invested in the country. They're all citizens for the most part. So, and let's say the million Ukrainians are here, they're pretty similar culture, so they're integrating very well. I haven't heard any major problems with Ukrainians gang raping people, right? It's not happening. So that's what I'm saying. So now, look, it took
It's
a long
9
time.
o'clock.
It took 10 years for me to basically achieve what we call the American dream here in Poland, right? Basically starting from nothing, pretty much nothing. Okay, had a couple of coins to rub together, but I wasn't rich, and I didn't have. You know, it took a long time. It took time. All right, but I you know, I mean, people like to say, you know, if you take a rich person's money away, or an entrepreneur, and whatever, let them start over again. Probably they'll get back on their feet, and it just will take time, but they'll get back on their feet. Yeah, man. Definitely, CC. Yeah, I did hurt my back from that, which you mentioned, as well as other things. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, private fees are definitely cheaper than in the U.S. Definitely. Look, there was a short time between jobs when I did not have insurance, and we had a couple of little kids at the time that were sick, and I kept telling my wife, look, I need to just buy the insurance, a private insurance. And at first she was like, no, we don't need to. But, you know, you would pay like 150 zlotys a month. 150 zlotys per visit to see a specialist, like for a children's specialist, because it was wintertime. Kids were just sick. They had some kind of whatever winter cold. And, you know, if you do that for... Oh, hang on one second. Let me just close the door. Thanks. My little baby's sleeping. I don't want to wake her up. But if you do that a couple times, let's say three times, you spent $450, and you're like, listen, for $100, 100 zlotys more, I could have had coverage for unlimited for the whole family. So that's what I did. After about a month of this, I just said, hey, Jose 1990 orange, I guess. Hello, Magda. Welcome. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, so that's what I did. I mean, it just makes sense. And look, overall, I mean, I think there's only one doctor that I have a problem with, that I have had a problem with. When I hurt my back, she was basically just a bitch. You know, I was like, yeah, but look, a lot of these, she was a woman, but they don't know. I mean, think about it. I mean, look, you get on the internet, you start researching certain things, you could be just as smart as a doctor in that narrow field, right? Because most doctors, you study all this crap just to become a doctor, and then you specialize, or if you're a GP or general practitioner, you're going to do family medicine or whatever. Again, it's sort of broad spectrum of stuff. It's impossible to know everything, right? So, yeah, I mean, I hurt my back, and I went to the one doctor, and she was like, well, you have to exercise. I said, so do what? Exercise, what does that mean? Swimming? I mean, should I do pull-ups? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to know. You really need to go to a physical therapist who really specializes in that kind of stuff, right? But she didn't say that. She didn't know how to say that, I guess. So that was an issue that I had, a negative, with one doctor. But, you know, maybe I've seen 20 different doctors in, I don't know, over 10 years that I've been here, including like my for my kids, and they've all been really good. They've all been really good. And again, you know, it's 60 doctors for every one citizen. There's a lot of doctors here. Same thing with dentists. I don't know about how other cities are, but certainly Krakow, at least it used to be, if you start walking around the outer the Rynek area, you'd see 3 or 4 or 5 different dental places. And I think the last time I had my teeth cleaned, I need to go back soon. I want to say around 120 zlotys to clean my teeth. It's $40. It's not bad. And then I had, I know it was more than that because I got a filling put in. And I think it was 220 altogether. So 120 zlotys for the filling, 120 to get my teeth cleaned. So that's, at the time, that was about $65. Okay, you can't really compare it to dollars. Hey, John, welcome back. You can't really compare it in dollars, but just talking in zlotys, because look, the average wage, they say it's around 2,500 Polish zlotys per month. So if you had to spend 250 on, getting your teeth cleaned and one filling, that's like 10% of your take-home pay. That's kind of a lot. But, maybe you'd only have to do that once every 5 years, right? Well, okay, cleaning should be at least once a year, maybe every 6 months if you can. And probably because I speak English, I'm a foreigner, who knows, maybe I got charged extra. Okay, maybe, I'm sure you can get it done cheaper in other places. Spicer just resigned? I didn't hear about that. That's interesting if Spicer just resigned. Hey, Tomasz, welcome. So he talks about the inauguration of the Voter Fraud Commission. This is big news, people. This is big league news about what is going down, what is happening. That Trump is trying to make America great again. Everything he's doing, it's really, I'm really proud of him. He's keeping his word. He's definitely trying. And, this Make America Great Again, this Make America Great Again week, Made in America week, it's just a simple thing. Now, what I want to say is, where was Obama on all this stuff? Why couldn't Obama do all this stuff? This is, again, something that Trump was saying during the campaign. He really thought that Obama would be someone to bring us all back together, right? To bring the country together. But instead, he created a lot of division, right? With this whole race baiting stuff, all this kind of stuff that happened during his 8 years in office. Obama did not help bring the country together. Trump is really trying to heal the country and bring the country together. Yeah, Trump really is a godsend. And a lot of people don't realize it, but I think maybe after a year or two, when the economy starts really reflecting good on them, this could really change their minds, right? Yeah, weightlifting gyms. Yeah, there's several. If you wanted to work out in Krakow, pretty much every city will have gyms. They may not be as posh as some of the gyms, whatever you want to talk about. But for instance, this video I did about the water park, above the water park is a pretty badass gym. I mean, it's got pretty much all the equipment that you're used to. Also has free weights. Also has a lot of weightlifting machines. And it's pretty regularly used. A lot of people use it because they have the benefit card, what have you. Yeah, definitely Obama probably will go down in history as one of the worst presidents ever. Right? Jimmy Carter's happy that somebody became president worse than him. And Jimmy Carter was a nice guy. He was just a little bit naive, and I don't know. Turns out that he did get effed over with the whole Iran thing, the taking of the hostages. Oh, my favorite beer was a question. My favorite Polish beer. Full disclosure, I am a shareholder in Żywiec, which is a company owned by Heineken, but it's a Polish beer company. I don't have many, but whatever, half dozen shares of Żywiec. But I like Żywiec, the classic Żywiec. It's very refreshing, especially on a hot day. But so is Tyski, so is Lech, so is all these classic Polish beers. Sometimes you don't even know what you're drinking, and it just tastes, it's really refreshing if you're in the Rinnick, or you're somewhere, it's a hot summer day, and you ask for a beer, and you just sit there, relax, sip the beer. It's just a great pastime, right? Just don't drink too many, but Żywiec recently, trying to compete with these craft brewers, has come out with several of these sort of craft beers. So they have an IPA, so Indian Pale Ale, which is pretty darn good. I tried that the first time I was at the Krakow, the ICE the Krakow or the International Congress Exposition, whatever. This giant, like basically a McCormick Place, in Krakow, a convention center. I guess Europeans call it a Congress Hall. And they had it there. I tried it. I was like, this is really, really awesome. Really awesome. So that's pretty good. But there's also some other ones. I think, I had a porter. I think it was I want to say, it wasn't Tyskie. It was, I can't think of the brand, but it'll probably come to me. It wasn't Tyskia, but it was Okosham Porter. So it's a dark beer. It's a heavy beer. I mean, I don't know if it has molasses in it or whatever. It was kind of a heavy beer. I liked it, but I can't drink it all the time. It's a sweeter beer. It's heavier. That was really good. But I tend to prefer like an IPA or Żywiec. I generally do not like Heineken, for instance, Dutch beer, I guess, because I think it has more sulfites in it. And it affects my allergies, which are being affected right now. Yeah, I did, Jose, I did try Kastelen, because that's the unpasteurized one. That's pretty good also. Look, all these beers are pretty good, man. They're all pretty good. They definitely are going to taste different than your German beers, or whatever. They're going to taste different. They all seem to have a regional kind of a flair to them, and then also because these giant multinationals like Heineken bought up these breweries, a lot of them maybe have gone bigger scale, and maybe some people have said that it doesn't taste like it used to taste like. Right? Now, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be like every 7 years they say your taste buds totally change. That's why when you were a kid you didn't like mushrooms or anchovies, but when you're 20 you love them, right? Because your taste buds have changed. So that could be what's happening. I don't know. If they're following the same traditional recipes, they should be tasting the same. Yakoshim is pretty good. I like all these are pretty damn good. They're very, if you drink them enough, you'll be able to sort of figure out which beer you're drinking, like a blind taste test. But they're all, I don't want to say they're all very similar because someone will tell me they're not. The one that I do not like is Perła, which is from Lublin. It just, every time I drink it, it gives me a headache. And I don't know why. So maybe there's something in there. The Helm, which is the hops, or whatever they put in there, that may be an issue. I don't know. Tomas just asked me if I play any instruments. Look, I play a few instruments, not very good. I mostly play keyboard, which I played on several songs. I'll play a little bit of guitar. And most of my music is from using a computer to help me synthesize something or synchronize something, or I use a loop, right? I might create a loop, or I use a loop that somebody else created. It's really about assembling all these loops in a coherent, so I'm really more of a composer, if that's what you want to call it, and I'm a lyrical poet. I'm a poet, in case you didn't know it, and I'm more of a composer, whereas, you know what I mean, like, I might have an idea in my mind. If I can't play it, I'll look for a loop that does it and assemble it into a song. And it's a good idea. Maybe bust out some beers for a beer taste test. It's actually not a bad idea. So this one so we got 18th, 19th, the 20th. President Trump makes this major announcement on pharmaceutical. And people might laugh, but basically what he's done is these pharmaceuticals are coming out with new glass vials for medicine. That the typical glass vial, and Trump actually was asked to demonstrate. Let me see if I can get on the video here, where he crushed it. He crushed the vial. The first one, if I can get it. Go on, really? Don't. Oh, here we go. Here he is crushing the second one. Try to do full screen on that.
Test the man, good. Whoa!
So you didn't see the first one crushing, but the first one, which is typical glass, he crushed it with 40 kilograms. I think it's 40 kilograms per square inch or something like that. But the new glass that they're making in the U.S., and that's the thing, that's why this is important, is that these pharmaceuticals, along with Corning, the other glass, the glass maker, they've put this together, and Trump basically delivered over 1,000 pounds per square inch on this second glass, and it did not shatter. That's how strong it is. Now, probably they're using the same glass that's in the iPhones, this Gorilla Glass. It's probably what they're using. That's probably what they're using. That's just my guess. Maybe they've customized it. But, if you ever get medicine in these little glass vials, and glass is basically infinitely recyclable versus plastic, which is petrochemical and does not decay. It takes hundreds of years to decay. So that was another thing. So like every day this week, pretty much, he's come out and he's done stuff. And then on the same day, Trump goes to the Pentagon to meet with Secretary Mattis. So we don't know what he discussed there, but obviously he's probably discussing crushing ISIS and other things, which is going pretty smoothly so far from what we can see. Really, LEC is owned by Coors? I didn't know that. Oh, really? Somebody likes Pewa. Pewa equals Pearl. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, so that's some of the things that happened this week. Now, the last thing that happened also on July the 20th was Trump had done an interview with the New York Times where he, look, it depends on how you want to interpret this. I interpret this as a positive, that Trump said that he was disappointed in Jeff Sessions, who is now the Attorney General, because Trump says, if I would have known that Jeff Sessions would have immediately recused himself on this bullshit Russian narrative, he would not have appointed Jeff Sessions. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions then had an interview, or sort of like a press conference. It's like 3 minutes long. I don't think that anything bad is going to happen. There's nothing bad happening. And I think as Attorney General, Jeff Sessions is really one of the strongest allies that Trump has in terms of helping deport people that are in the country illegally, especially these criminal gangs, pedophiles, a lot of stuff like that. So, okay, CC, take care. Hope to see you soon. Yeah, also Trump defunded, it became public that Trump defunded the army of the so-called moderate rebels in Syria. It's a big deal, people. Even though we know that probably 5 years ago the military said this was a bad idea, that we were who we thought we were arming were not moderate rebels. They all joined ISIS. Okay? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. So this is what happened here with Sessions. I don't think anything bad is going to come out of it. I think it's okay for Trump to say that. Basically, he's just irritated that Sessions did what he did. But some people are saying, whatever, making a big stink out of every little thing that Trump does. It's not a big deal. He just said, if I would have known it, I would not have hired the guy. I would have hired somebody who would not going to recuse himself, meaning that he would stay out of it. I think Sessions, as Attorney General, has to step back in and say, look, the whole Russian narrative is a nothing burger. It's been proven. We know it's a nothing burger. We got to quit. We just shut it down. Shut down the so-called independent counsel. Because now he's on a fishing expedition, and that should not be what it's about. Now, maybe not the final thing I want to talk about was one of the final things. I was actually driving back to Krakow from Lublin. I stopped at a place to grab some Jajecznica, which I probably should have done a video review on it. If you haven't had Polish Jajecznica, which is scrambled eggs, Polish style, you gotta have it. You gotta try it. When I went with my girlfriend at the time to the U.S., she had never been to the U.S. We traveled around all over the U.S. back in 2005. Every single place we went to for breakfast, whether it be Denny's or IHOP or McDonald's, wherever, if we got scrambled eggs, American-style scrambled eggs are fully cooked. They're hard, right? And she hated them. They're dry. She hated them. My Polish people already know what I'm talking about. Jajecznica is scrambled eggs, and look, an American might say they're raw, they're undercooked. That's not how you have to look at it. They're cooked. It's just that they're like a custard, right? You're gonna have some fully cooked American style pieces in there, but the most of it, it's just undercooked a little bit, and it tastes so freaking creamy. Maybe it's because the chickens here are not genetically modified. I don't know, but it's freaking fantastic. 6 zlotys and 50 grosz for jajecznica at this place. It was a restaurant attached to a BP gas station, close to Sandomierz. And I want to do a live stream from Sandomierz, and we'll talk about this when I do it, about the blood libel of Sandomierz. Do you guys people know about that? Yeah, definitely. When you make jajecznica, you can obviously add bacon or kielbasa or shinka, so whatever, ham, sausage chopped up, or bacon chopped up, or pretty much whatever you want. And it's just so freaking amazing, man. It tastes like creamy freaking eggs, right? But it's just eggs whipped up with whatever's in it. Or it could just be just jajecznica plain with butter, whatever. Freaking awesome. Tarnów, yeah. Tarnów, the one close to Warsaw, right? The Teutonic Knight City, right? I've been there. That's a freaking awesome city also. That's a pretty awesome city too. I want to go to Zamość because I'm going to be back in Lublin soon. But this picture here, I don't know how we got off on this tangent on jajecznica, but while I was eating jajecznica, this protest was on. Oh, Tarnów, so the one close, like east of Krakow? Next to Krakow. Okay, I visited a friend who lived there, Toruń. Also, Tarnów and Toruń, right? There's 2 different cities. I always get them mixed up. So I've been to a friend's house in Tarnów, but I didn't go downtown. I didn't go check it out. But it's close enough that I should check it out. I probably will. But I want to go to Zamość, which is supposed to be the perfect city. It looks beautiful. I want to check it out. A lot of those buildings look like the buildings in Gdańsk. Yeah, John's asking about ski resorts in Poland. Definitely a lot of ski resorts. They're small, on the small side compared to American massive ski resorts, but they're pretty cool and they're pretty reasonable. Especially if you come in with US dollars. If you're an American, you're going to be like, this place is so freaking cheap, I can't believe it. So, around Zakopane, that's the ski area. I mean, you look at the map, so anywhere pretty much south of Nowy Sącz, if you look on the map, find Zakopane, find Nowy Sącz. In the Zakopane area, this is mountain region, there's a lot of different mountains that you can ski down. And probably Zakopane is the most known touristy one, but really close by, there's tons of places. So look, so I'm in this restaurant. This is on TV. The news, it was live. And these pretty much looks like all women are kicking against these barricades at basically the House of Representatives or the Congress, the Polish legislative branch, the Sejm, I think it's how the Sejm, the protests at the Sejm, at the House of Representatives or House of Congress. And it's just so stupid. It's widely known that these protests have been funded by Soros, by George Soros, and he's trying to force Poland to accept refugees. But this main protest was because that the government, the present government, the PIS government, or the Law and Justice Party, is in control now, and it has basically fired all of these judges who are basically corrupt. Maybe, it's a corrupt system, many people have argued, and they're trying to end the corruption, break this log jam, because there's been stories where basically people are getting away with, quote unquote, getting away with murder, right? People are doing crimes, but because they're well connected, they're not being punished, and these judges have to be broken. And so these protests are backed by Antifa and Soros and whoever else, and some of these women are afraid they're going to lose the ability to, have birth control. That's not going to happen. Poland is a Catholic country. There's no reason for people to have abortions. Abortions are illegal here. In my opinion, you can get birth control in Poland pretty cheaply. I recommend the IUD for women who don't want chemicals in their system. The IUD basically blocks the implantation of a embryo into the uterus. Whatever. Don't have to discuss it here. They were banned for a while in the U.S. because the original design, there was some copper in it, and it was known, basically they found that it had caused cervical cancer, but they've redesigned it. There's different kinds of IUDs. Ladies, I'm just saying, I know it may be uncomfortable, but a doctor's going to check you, whatever you go to see a gynecologist. But that's probably the best way to go. My experience is it's about 600 or 700 zlotys to get an IUD, checked, blah, 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 implanted and everything, and it's good for 5 years. And there's no chemicals. There's no hormones, right? So it's a lot safer. The U.S. is, at least on a rotating basis, has troops stationed here, and they're building up an air base close to Warsaw, I guess, west of Warsaw. And we'll see what happens there. But so these people were protesting, and I was asking my wife, what the hell are they protesting about? It looks really stupid, totally ineffective. They just look like kids having a temper tantrum. It's really ridiculous, man. So, the other thing is, what else about these guys? So yeah, so the typical feminist bullshit, worried about losing some kind of whatever. Look, ladies, I've got 4 kids in Poland. I recommend you have children. If you get married, you should get married. Have children when you're young. It's when you're most fertile. Best children will be born when you're young. You're strong. You can easily take care of your kids when you're younger. You can always go after a career later. I'm just telling you straight up. Because later on, if you wait and you don't have any kids, you're going to be miserable because you're going to wish you had kids. Right? Somebody sacrificed their time, their money to raise you, hopefully in a good way, and you should really return the favor. At least 2.1 kids. All right? So, that's my opinion on that. So, overall, it's been a good week. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I could report this. Everything is okay, but I was hit by a car on the way to the water park with one of my sons about 2 weeks ago. And basically that guy was doing an illegal U-turn on a 2-lane street, and he essentially, as he turned, I was just passing. I didn't know what the hell this guy was doing. He turned and slid into me, right? Sideswiped the side of my car, causing some major damage. And we hired a law firm to handle the business. And I got to tell you, I'm so impressed with them so far that if they do a good job, I will be endorsing them on this channel for free, at least promoting them because of their work. Honestly, they were the most professional, most friendly. They speak English. I don't know if they're outside of Krakow, but this law firm, really amazing. And they specialize in this kind of stuff. They can do other kinds of legal work too, but they specialize on that. PIS is the Law and Justice Party. They're a center-right party, and the leader of the party, anyways, is Kaczynski, right? Because I want to say Kaczynski, right? The Yaroslav Kaczynski, the brother of Lech Kaczynski, who was killed in the plane crash of the Polish where the Polish president died. His brother was a Polish president, Lech Kaczynski. Oh, Kaczynski, right. Kaczynski, sorry. Krasniqski. Krasniqski. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yeah, Lech Kaczynski was killed along with pretty much the senior staff in this crash when they're going to for the 70th anniversary of the murder of some 20,000 plus Polish officers and intelligentsias by the Russians. His plane crashed. Well, we don't know what happened really. That is another big lie that has not been fully answered. You know, we need to get answers on that. So that's who's in charge of the party, who's the leader of the party. Let me probably try to pull him up. Do this in real time, baby. There he is. Yaroslav Kaczynski. Yeah, here he is. They were twins. His brother Lech and him are twins. And it turns out that when they were young, they actually were movie stars or child actors. The twins. Because they were twins, they were child actors. A lot of people that aren't Polish probably don't know that. But, yeah. The news PL, yeah, there you go. So this is Yaroslav Kaczynski, who is the leader of PIS, the party. So, anyhow, guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, this has been a great broadcast. Really happy to be able to share with you sort of the week in review, what's been happening from my perspective, what I've seen, what I've been seeing, really positive stuff coming out of the U.S. Let's make America great again. Don't be afraid to spread the link, spread the word, talk to people, and we'll see you definitely next time. Anything? See if there's any other chatting. That's so funny, man. There's one guy, he was chatting with me on Skype. Skype is holyjoe space rock, by the way. It's so funny. It's a guy, but he was using a woman's name. Let's see if I see him over here. I don't know if I see him. He's probably maybe not on this call, but hello, Magda. Are you still out there? Oh my God, I didn't see it. How many times you did Make America Great Again? Unless that's somebody else who stole your phone. But anyhow, listen, everybody. Thank you so much for watching the broadcast. This is Holy Joe Rock and Roll, reminding you always to make it happen for the captain, because you're the captain. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care now.